try everything that she has after. Just maybe. That's cool.
Okay, and when the villain shows up, you got it.
Yes.
Good. Sound like a bunch of snakes out there. Now there's some very touching moments in this drama, and so we're going to ask you.
Oh, brother, huh?
Come on, let's hear a sign.
Oh, brother.
Good. Now I'm going to introduce the characters so the show can begin. First we have Constant Hope, our beautiful heroine who is haunted by a tragic past. Manly Rash, our noble young hero with a manly bosom.
Amen. Hey, there he is, huh?
Justice Greystone, a successful businessman.
Oh, Scrooge.
Ursula Greystone, his socially ambitious wife.
Beautiful.
Fowler, housekeeper at the Greystones. Bertram Oleander, a cad of the first water who is steeped in villainy.
Yes.
And last but not least, Millie Smith, who arrives unexpectedly.
Hey, all right, huh?
Let the action begin. Fowler, where are you?
Did you ring for me, ma'am?
I certainly did. Why didn't you respond to my ring?
Well, I'm responding, ain't I?
Do you know what we're having this evening?
Yeah, we're having supper. Only you call it dinner.
Don't you suppose I know that we're having dinner?
But that's one thing you can't blame me for, ma'am.
What I want to know is what we're having for dinner.
Oh, that. We're having dreaded veal cutlets.
You are impossible. How can you be so stupid? What you mean is we're having dreaded veal cutlets.
Well, when I got one whiff of them veal cutlets, I dreaded having to eat them.
I don't know why I bother to keep you around.
Well, I do. It's because I work cheap.
Nothing of the sort. I'm sure I pay you all that you are worth.
But that's the whole trouble. If you want me to stay around here, you're going to have to pay me more than I'm worth.
Where's that confounded nurse of mine?
Augustus, why didn't you remain in bed? Your doctor wants you to get as much rest as possible.
All doctors are fools. They're in the same class as wives.
Now you mustn't let your temper get the best of you, my darling. Goodness knows I wouldn't want you to have another heart attack.
It's my heart, isn't it? If I want to have another attack, I'll have one.
Now, Augustus.
Where's that stupid son of yours, Ursula?
Excuse me, Mr. Greystone, sir, but I just seen Mr. Manley and Miss Constant leaving the house together just a few minutes ago. My, that Mr. Manley sure has got a case on that nurse.
Ah, the young fool. I'll soon put a stop to that.
Try to remain calm, my darling. I want you to be well and strong again so we can resume our social life. I'm so tired of staying home and never having any fun.
You seem to forget you're married to me, Ursula. You're not supposed to have any fun.
That will do, Fowler. You may go.
Have you thought of what it will mean if your son, Manley, insists on making a fool of himself over that dratted nurse? I won't have it, I tell you.
Nothing will come of that romance, I assure you.
That girl is a scheming little nobody. Why, she's made a fool of Manley because she knows he's well loaded.
How can you say such a thing? My Manley never indulges in alcoholic beverages of any kind.
I mean the young jackanapes is loaded with money. Left to him by his father.
Manley's father. Now there was a man. Such a pity his stay on earth was so short.
What did your husband die of, Ursula?
He died of a heart attack.
What?
Doctor never knew what brought on that attack.
Came from being married to you, no doubt. You know, there's only one way for us to get rid of that nurse's presence here. She'll have to go.
That is the very worst thing we could do under the circumstances. I will not hear it.
You mean you want your son to marry a penniless nobody? A girl who has to work for her living?
You know that's the last thing I want. But to discharge the nurse would be useless. That would only make Manly more intent to pursue her and marry her.
Then what do you propose to do?
She must remain on where we can watch her every move. Sooner or later, we shall manufacture enough evidence against that girl to make the scales fall from Manly's eyes. By the time I am done with Miss Hope, Manly will never want to see her again.
I see what you mean. You think we'll be able to manufacture some evidence to make it possible for us to get rid of that nurse's presence
Oh,
here?
sure. During my rise to social prominence, I learned how to triumph over my enemy. Nobody dares get in my way because I know how to rub them out as you would a fly.
I don't like the way that sounds. For all I know, you may be planning on rubbing me out.
Oh, you have nothing to fear on that score, my pet. Goodness knows I wouldn't want to go to the trouble of Ferry and find a new husband at this time of year when the social season is almost over.
Oh, what is it, Fowler?
There's a gentleman waiting without.
Without what?
Without an appointment. He says he's got to see you without delay.
Very well. Show him in.
Step right this way, sir.
Bertram Oleander. What is the meaning of this?
My spies told me you were enjoying bad health, Greystone. And since I had reasons of my own for being interested in you, I decided to pay you a visit and see just how serious your illness really was.
I always knew you had more nerve than the devil himself, but I never thought you'd dare to come here.
I am here because it is time for a showdown between us, Greystone. I would have a word with you in private.
I have nothing to say to you, Bertram Oleander. I'd advise you to leave here at once while you're still in one piece.
No, you can't expect me to take your threats seriously, old man. But enough of this. My time is valuable. People are always making demands on me and asking for my advice. Verily, such popularity must be deserved.
Oh, why are you running around here, Fowler? Get back to the kitchen, do you hear?
Yes, sir. Mr. Greystone, whatever you say.
Well, that's better, much better. I hope you don't mind if I sit down, Greystone.
I'd be overjoyed if you fell down flat on your face, you unmitigated scoundrel. I insist you tell me why you've had the temerity to show your evil face in my house.
Oh, you wrong me, Greystone. Really you do. You should be aware of the fact that I am entirely unselfish. And I have only your interests at heart.
You mealy-mouthed hypocrite. What fresh deviltry are you planning now?
Now, I'm sure you haven't forgotten that you are to attend my trial a week from today, since you are to be the main witness.
No, I'll say I haven't forgotten. It'll be a source of great satisfaction to me when I appear before Judge Savage and testify as only I can that you are guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Isn't it true that your doctor has forbidden you to leave this house without first getting his permission?
I'd make my presence felt as a witness against you, even if it meant the end of my existence on this earth.
Ah, if you succeed and continue to pursue such a course, you might not live to get to the courtroom, you old wreck.
Now you're showing yourself in your true colors. What I expected all along from a scoundrel like you. A knave who's robbed innocent men and women of the savings of a lifetime in order to feather his own nest.
Good Dukes, I mustn't lose my temper in the presence of this old goat. I didn't mean to lose my temper, Greystone, and I beseech you to forgive me. I really came to do you a service, sir.
You expect me to believe that?
No, it would make things a lot simpler for you if you would. You should know by now, of course, that I will never be convicted of the crime of which I have been accused. This isn't the first time I've been brought to trial, and I...
With all your thievery, you've always managed to elude the law and maintain your freedom. This time, it shall be different, I promise you.
I can't understand why you should be so anxious to have me convicted, sir. After all, I haven't injured you in any way.
But you hoodwinked a great many poor people who've become the innocent victims of your greed and cupidity.
I merely sold some stock in a mining property to a lot of, shall we say, gullible fools. After all, if I hadn't taken their money, somebody else would have.
Tell that to Judge Savage when you appear before him.
Oh, I'm sure it won't come to that, Greystone. After all, you are the one who's responsible for this trial. You are the one who's brought charges against me. Why, nobody else even suspects the mine they invested in isn't all I promised it to be.
I have positive proof with which to convict you. You sold thousands of dollars of worthless stocks. Stocks that aren't worth the paper they're printed on.
Oh, come now, Greystone. Who are you to be so high and mighty with me? I dare say you have been involved in some questionable deals in your lifetime that wouldn't bear too close an inspection.
Well, you get out of here or do I have to have you thrown out?
Oh, take it easy, old man. Don't forget that you have a weak heart. I'll go, of course, but first, I wish to make you a very fine offer.
You're just wasting your breath.
Don't worry about that. I've plenty more where that came from. What would you say if I offered you $25,000 in cash to drop the charges you've brought against me?
Drop the charges? I couldn't do that even if I wanted to. What reason could I give the authorities for doing a complete about-face at this late date?
Oh, it would be quite simple for you, I assure you. All you'd have to do is to tell Judge Savage that you've been mistaken and you now find you haven't sufficient charges against me to take me into court.
That's all I'd have to do, is it?
Yes, and since Judge Savage is a close friend of yours, why, it would never occur to him to doubt your word, sir. He'd have to give me a clean bill of health. I'd go free, and you'd be richer by $25,000. How about it?
You expect me to do this for a paltry $25,000?
Oh, very well, then. Name your price and I'll meet it. How much do you want?
Even if you had all the money in the world, you couldn't buy me off. Why, I'm more determined than ever to see that justice is done and that you receive the maximum penalty for the outrageous crime you committed.
Ah, now look here, Greystone. I dare say that if you do not accept this, you may have...
Not another word. Not another word. I shall get in touch with Judge Savage today and acquaint him with the fact that you tried to bribe me. Before I'm through with you, Bertram Oleander, you'll wish that you were dead.
Very well. If that's the way you want to play this out, we'll see who shall be the winner. Yes, I still have a few cards up my sleeve, and I shall play them for all I'm worth.
Get out of my house this instant.
I'll go, of course. I never stay where I'm not wanted. Poor old Greystone. Something tells me that your poor heart is weaker than you think. And I'm sure before you are able to get in touch with Judge Savage, you'll be a gunner because your ticker will cease to tick.
Fiend. Now, what did he mean by that last crack, I wonder?
Mr. right?
Oh, where have you been, Nurse Hope? I'm not paying you to gallivant around when you're supposed to be on duty here.
I'm sorry if I disturbed you, sir. One of your prescriptions ran out, and I hurried to the drugstore to have it filled. It took some time to have the prescription renewed, so I hurried back and came in through the rear entrance.
I'm tired of taking medicines that aren't doing me any good. I feel weaker today than I have since I had that last attack.
Your doctor seems greatly pleased with your progress. I'm sure that in a very short time you shall be entirely well again.
Now, I'm going to my study and rest. And I don't want to be disturbed.
How fortunate I am to have such a haven. How good it is to have a sanctuary where I'm safe and secure. Nobody here even guesses that I was once a downtrodden girl who was not expected to escape the doom that was closing in on me. Every day I pray that nobody here shall ever discover that I am a girl with a past. A past I hope never comes back to haunt me.
Constance! So you've been away forever.
Don't be silly. I was only gone for 15 minutes or so. How his voice thrills me. One glance at his manly bosom and I can feel my heart racing for joy. Oh, cease my fluttering heart.
Earlier today, you told me I reminded you of somebody else. Have you thought who that is?
It is Lord Lochinvar.
Lochinvar?
Yes, don't you remember him? He rode a horse?
Well, I thought that was Lady Godiva.
I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to excuse me. I must prepare some medicine for your stepfather.
That can wait. Please, sit down. I have something important to say to you.
I know he's going to propose to me. Dear Lord, give me sufficient strength to say him nay. Help me to unburden my soul and reveal my frightful past. Can't you postpone what you have to say to me until some future time?
Not a chance. Please, sit down.
Very well, but please be as brief as possible.
How beautiful you are. In all of my life, it has never been my good fortune to gaze upon loveliness of the type you possess so abundantly.
I should be accustomed to your compliments by now, but I'm afraid I'm not. Please, tell me what's on your mind.
Well, first of all, I must tell you that my factory is a great success. I've made an independent fortune of my own through the sale of my soap.
Soap?
Sound as though you don't like soap.
Oh, that isn't soap. As a matter of fact, I was raised on soap.
I mention my wealth because I wish to place everything I have at your feet. Constant, I cannot get you out of my thoughts. Will you make me the happiest man in the world and promise that you will marry me?
Oh, Mr. Rash, this is so sudden.
Please, would you call me Manly?
Oh, if Manly weren't so manly, it would make it so much easier to reveal my sordid past. For your sake, I shall do as you wish.
You mean you will marry me?
No, I mean I shall call you Manly. Manly?
So far, so good. Wouldn't you like to be Mrs. Manly Rash?
Oh, what girl wouldn't be thrilled with the thought of marrying you, Manly? But it can never be for me. I can never marry any man.
Constant, you realize what you are saying?
Alas, alas, I realize it only too well. Since you have done me the honor of asking me to be your wife, it is only fitting and proper that I should reveal my shocking past.
I am not interested in your past, my dear one. You and I shall be married and devote all of our time to living in the present and dreaming about our future.
It isn't as simple as that. You must listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. 8 years ago, I was in a terrible accident. The train I was riding on collided with another train, and I was thrown from my train and found in an unconscious condition at the bottom of a ravine.
Poor Constant, how you must have suffered.
For a long time, I wasn't expected to live, but gradually, nature asserted herself, and after a series of operations, I began to make progress.
But I fail to see why any of this should keep you from marrying me.
someone gave me that name because I didn't know what I was called before the accident. I stayed on at that hospital and decided to go into training. I graduated with high honors and have been nursing ever since.
I still fail to see why any of this should keep you from marrying me.
When you have had some time to think this over, you shall realize that until I'm able to shed some light on my past, I must remain as I am. What if I agreed to marry you, and some man appeared on the scene who could prove that I was married to him before I lost my memory?
I won't allow a little thing like that to stand in the way of our marriage.
A little thing? You don't realize what you're saying.
In spite of everything, I shall never be content until I have made you mine. We'll battle this thing out together, you and I. And I shall devote all of my time to discovering your true identity.
I forbid you to do anything of the sort.
But why? Don't you want to know who you really are?
I'm afraid that you should discover that I am not fit to be your wife. What if there's some terrible scandal in my past that would prevent me from ever getting married?
Nonsense. You could be nothing but noble and good. We shall battle this thing out together, you and I. And we'll devote all of our time to discovering your true identity. Don't worry, Constance. Just leave everything to me.
Would that I were free to marry Manly and lead a happy, normal existence. But I can never run the risk of dragging the proud name of Brash through the mud. Oh, woe is me. Oh, today.
Ahem.
Who are you, and what are you doing here?
Oh, don't you recognize me, my dear? I didn't think the day would ever come when you would forget your own Bertram.
What are you saying? I've never seen you before. Or have I?
Yes, Zooks, if I can succeed in pulling the wool over this dame's eyes, the world will be mine. Now for some dirty work. Oh, you'll never know how I've looked forward to the day when I should find you again, my own dear little wife.
I'm your wife?
Why did you leave me? Such a cruel and heartless fashion. After I had lavished years of love and affection on you, how could you find it in your heart to abandon me and our little babe?
I'm a mother?
Because you abandoned us, I've had to be a father and a mother to poor little Elmer.
I have a son? Oh, where is he? I must see him at once.
Now for some more dirty work. I'm almost beginning to believe my own lies. Unfortunately, that won't be possible. The poor little fellow passed away a year ago after suffering a severe attack of pneumonia. He believed that his mother was dead.
The poor dear. What a short life.
Ah, yes, true too.
I had no wish to desert you. I was in a terrible accident. And when I recovered, my mind was a total blank.
Ah, yes.
I don't even know my own name.
I believe her mind is still a total blank. Egad, this dame is full of my lies, hook, line, and sinker. Well, that accounts for the fact that I was never able to find any trace of you, although I've never stopped trying to locate you since you went away.
Sir, would you be good enough to tell me my name?
Oh, you are Mrs. Bertram Oleander, of course. I have spent a fortune trying to find you, and I never believed when I came to this house that I would find you here.
But if you didn't expect to find me here, what brought you here?
Oh, Augustus Greystone is one of my closest friends. Yes, hearing that the old gentleman was ill, I came to inquire about him and to see if I could be of any service to him.
Mr. Greystone is resting now and cannot be disturbed. I am working here as his nurse.
My wife? Working as a nurse? Oh, that will never do. You'll have to give up your job immediately, my dear, Why, what would my friends say if they knew that Bertram Oleander's wife was working for her living? An impossible situation from any point of view.
You'll have to grant me some time to become used to the idea of having a husband.
Oh, yes, anything you say, my dear. Why, just yesterday, I was looking at our wedding certificate, and it brought with it thoughts of happier days.
You are in possession of our marriage certificate?
Well, of course, since you left it when you went away. Tonight I shall forge a wedding certificate, and then this beauty shall be mine until I decide to toss her aside.
Sir, what was my father's name?
I never knew your father. He died before we were married.
What?
I mean, before we were married, your name was Maggie McCoy.
Maggie McCoy? Are you sure about that?
Oh, positive. Why, you are Maggie McCoy, the daughter of the real McCoy.
When may I see our wedding certificate?
Oh, tonight I shall take you to my hotel for dinner, and then I shall show you the wedding certificate that proves us to be man and wife.
Until this evening, then. Now you must excuse me. I have work to do. I'll tell Mr. Greystone that you called.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Tata. Eureka. Once I have the nurse in my power, I shall pull the purse strings so that I get my hands on thousands of dollars of the Greystone fortune. Once I get my hands on the money, I shall abandon the nurse and journey to greener pastures. Yes, this has turned out to be a lucky day indeed for Bertram Oleander.
Wonder where she went to.
Manly, I'm so glad you're home at last. I see so little of you lately, dear boy.
I have a lot on my mind these days, Mama.
So I've noticed. I am glad to see you're not rushing into matrimony without giving it serious thought.
Why, Mama, how did you know I was contemplating matrimony?
Any fool can see you're head over heels in love with Miss Hope.
You can? I didn't think that showed.
When are you going to propose to your stepfather's nurse, son?
I've proposed already. Just this afternoon I asked Constance to be my wife.
She must have been overjoyed at the prospect of becoming Mrs. Manly Rash.
Yes, she was. Constance feels the same way about me as I feel about her.
Has she set a date for your wedding yet?
Not yet. You see, she's afraid her husband might show up after we're married.
What? Constance has a husband? Who is he?
She doesn't know for sure whether or not she is married.
My poor boy. Are you sure you're feeling okay?
I'll feel a lot better once I clear up Constance's past.
Oh, so that nurse has a past, has she? I can't say that I'm surprised.
You're not?
No, I thought it was awfully strange that a girl as beautiful as Miss Hope would be working as a nurse.
Constance certainly is beautiful, isn't she? She looks like $1 million.
I hope for your sake she'll settle for less.
If Constance would agree to marry me, I'd gladly settle every penny I have on her. What good is money? You can't buy anything but happiness.
I see it's time I had a serious talk with that nurse.
What good would that do? The main thing is to find out if Constance is married or not, has been married or not before. And if she has, we must find some way to get rid of her husband.
I hope you won't mention any of this to your stepfather, son. It would only complicate matters. I wouldn't want to worry him at a time when he isn't feeling as well as he should. I'll be upstairs if you need me.
I cannot live without Constance. She must. She shall be mine.
It's all right, Fowler. I'll give Mr. Greystone his medicine now.
Constance, insist you spare me a moment.
Really, Manly, I must give his medicine to your stepfather.
That can wait. Please, step into the garden with me. I promise I won't keep you but a few minutes.
See that you don't. I mustn't neglect my duties here.
Ooh. What the Yes, yes. Fate has played into my hands. Few drops of this poison I got in South America. Poured into Greystone's medicine, and that old codger will never know what hit him. Now for some dirty work. Eureka! That does it. Augustus Greystone's doom is sealed. Now all I have to do is to sit tight and gobble up the Greystone million. You're not doing so badly at all, Bertram, old boy. Not badly at all.
I'm not sure I heard somebody talking in here. I guess I must be imagining things for sure.
In a few minutes are up, Manly. I must get back to work.
What's the matter? Wouldn't Mr. Greystone take his medicine?
I'm taking it to him now. Manly detained me in the garden.
So it's Manly now, is it? You better not let the mistress hear you call a person by his first name.
Thanks, Father. I'll try to be more discreet when Mr. Greystone is around.
Confound it. I left word I'm not to be disturbed. Who is it?
It's only me, Mr. Greystone. It's time for your medicine.
Loafing again as usual. Can't you find something useful to do?
I don't know. I ain't had time to look.
Don't see who that is.
Can we have broken arms?
Ma, I want you to do me a favor.
I'd be glad to if I can, son. What is it?
I want to take Constant out with me this evening. You can arrange for her to have time off, can't you?
That is entirely up to Augustus. Miss Hope is his nurse, not mine.
But if you tell your husband Constant must have the evening off, I'm sure everything will be all right. None of your husbands has ever dared to cross you.
I'll see. Let's see how he's feeling. Is my husband feeling any better?
I'm afraid not. It was all I could do to get him to take his medicine.
The doctor will be here soon. I will see that he has a talk with him.
Mr. Greystone seemed to have something on his mind. He asked me to send Mr. Rash to him at once.
We'll see what he wants, Manly.
Can't imagine what he wants to see me about.
Step out this way, sir.
Ma'am, I go. I hope you will pardon this intrusion, miss. I am Bertram Oleander, and I am here to inquire about Mr. Greystone's health.
I'm pleased to meet you, Mr. Oleander. I am Mrs. Augustus Greystone.
You are Augustus's wife? I never would have believed it. I took you to be a much younger sister of Augustus's. Oh.
Very sweet, I am sure. Meet Miss Hope. This is Augustus's nurse.
How do you do, Miss Hope? How is your patient doing?
He doesn't seem to be making much progress.
Oh? I'm sure that a visit from an old close friend, such as me, would cheer the poor fellow up no end.
Ma, prepare yourself for a shock.
What is it? What's happened?
When I entered the study, Augustus was laying on a sofa, and he appeared to be dazed. I tried to arouse him, and he opened his eyes, and with tremendous effort, he said to me, "I've been poisoned."
Poisoned? Oh, no!
Go for the doctor, Manly. Be quick.
I'm afraid that won't help now. Augustus Greystone is dead.
We're going to have a very short intermission. Please don't go away.
12 o'clock. Tonight, I shall reap the rewards of all my dirty work. Ah, yes.
Oh, it's you. Do you wish to speak with Mrs. Greystone?
No, I really came to see you, Maggie. I mean, Constance. Egad, how beautiful you are. I must say, I know how to pick 'em every time.
Be good enough to state the nature of your business with me, sir, and be brief. I have no time for idle chit-chat.
I really came to find out if you've had any word from that missing Reich fellow.
No word of any kind. Manly Rash disappeared shortly after Augustus Greystone died, and nobody has heard from Mr. Rash since.
I understand that the police are making an exhaustive search for young Reich, but their efforts in that direction have been a dismal failure up to now.
That is correct. Nobody knows where Mr. Rash is or why he disappeared. It is though the earth opened and swallowed poor Manly up.
No doubt by this time, the young scoundrel is safe in Canada.
I don't understand. Why should Manly go to Canada?
Well, the reason is obvious, my dear. I happen to know that the police believe that Manly Reich poisoned his stepfather and then ran away before the police could take him in.
That is a lie. Anybody who knows Manly is well aware of the fact that he could never harm anyone.
Why would you be so eager to rush to the defense of Manly Reich? Surely you aren't in love with a fellow, are you, Maggie? I hope you haven't forgotten, Maggie, Egad. I hope you haven't forgotten that you are my wife and you owe all your allegiance to me.
Would that I could forget it. The thought that I was once your wife hangs over me like a pall. Of this you may be certain, sir. If it is true that I was once married to you, I want you to know that that relationship will never be resumed. Never!
Never?
Never!
So that's why you have been avoiding me ever since Greystone died, is it? You didn't want to give me the opportunity of claiming you as my wife. The time has come for some plain speaking between us, my dear little wife.
Don't call me your wife! On your lips that is a mockery, sir!
Those are harsh words coming from you, Constant. Very harsh words indeed. I have tried my best to inspire confidence in you. You must believe that you can trust me to do whatever I think is best for you.
I ask only one favor of you.
Yes.
Get out of my life and leave me alone!
In that way, you would be free to join Manly Reich and forget that you're a married woman, eh? I would be a fool to grant such a request.
You wrong me, sir. I have no intention of linking myself to any man. I shall spend the rest of my life trying to atone for the past by living a useful life, helping the sick and nursing them back to health.
Tell me, my dear, why have you remained here? I naturally supposed that when Greystone died, you would sever your connections with the Greystone family.
I was all packed and ready to leave the morning after Mr. Greystone passed away. But Mrs. Greystone was feeling ill and prevailed upon me to stay on and be her nurse.
I imagine it didn't take much coaxing on Mrs. Greystone's part to get her consent for you to stay here. Now, you hope that by remaining here, you would be able to establish some contact with that murdering Manly Reich.
Manly is no murderer, and you know it. You should be ashamed of yourself for slandering a man who is as far above you as the stars are above the earth.
A long ways. Have a care how you talk to me, girl. Why, one word from me to the proper place and the proper authorities, and you will be looking out from behind bars. I'll give you 1 hour to pack your things and meet me at my hotel, where you will take up residence as my wife.
Never! There is no law that can compel a wife to live with a man whom she dislikes and mistrusts. Your threats do not frighten me. Do your worst. I defy you! Oh, do so, by all means.
I take it that you have business here.
Yes, indeed. Are you Manly Rash?
No, indeed. I am Bertram Oleander.
I don't see how you can ever remember such a flowery name. Why, if I had a name like that, I'd change it.
Would you mind telling us why you are here?
My name is Millie Smith, and I'm one of Manly Rash's customers. I'm here on a shopping spree, and I want to order a large amount of soap from Mr. Rash's factory.
Please try to be a little more specific. Why are you here?
Well, I just told you. I want to buy a large order of soap for my drugstore back home. I went out to Mr. Rash's factory, but it was all closed up. And the janitor there told me nobody knows where Mr. Rash is. He gave me this address and told me I might get some information about Mr. Rash here.
I'm sorry, Miss Smith. Unfortunately, we can tell you nothing about Manly Rash. He has disappeared and nobody knows where he is or when he shall return.
Well, what do you know? Disappeared, has he? Well, I'd say that it's mighty rash of Rash to neglect his business this way.
You'll have to excuse me. I have work to do.
Yes, later, my dear, later.
I'll have to find some other place to buy the soap I need.
Just a moment, Miss Smith. Perhaps I can help you out. Where are you staying, Miss Smith?
At the Torrance Hotel.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'll tell you what, I will try to drop around this evening and pay you a visit. And, I never pass up an opportunity of spending as much time as possible with a pretty woman.
Oh, you city men have such taking ways. I shall look forward to seeing you again later. Don't forget to call on me. I'll be expecting you.
Yes, until later. Ta-ta. Yes, until later.
Who was that woman, Bertram?
Ursula, another of your son's conquests, Ursula. He must be deeply involved with her because she came here looking for him.
I can't understand it. I never dreamt that Manly paid any attention to anyone but Constant Hope.
Oh, yes, indeed. Tell me, Ursula, have you arrived at a decision in regards to the matter we discussed yesterday? Of course, you'll need someone to handle your business affairs, and I, of course, am the ideal person for the job.
Yes, Bertram, I've decided to place everything in your hands. If you will call on my attorney in the morning, he will give you a paper signed by me that gives you all the authority to take care of my investments.
Eureka, this old dame has walked right into the trap I have set for her. And why, I shall do my best, yes indeed, my very, very best, to be worthy of the great trust you have bestowed upon me, my dear.
I'm sure you will. I am lucky to have you to lean upon. You are a true friend.
Yes. Only a friend? My heart cries out to be much more than that to you, lovely lady.
I don't understand what you mean.
Well, you are still a young woman, and an extremely beautiful one. I'll tell you what, if you'll marry me, and we'll travel all over the world, and I'll devote my life to making you happy.
How I would love to be your wife, Bertram.
Yes.
But I cannot give you an answer until I have a chance to discuss the matter with my son.
Oh, forget about him. Why, he has gone out of your life forever. I pray for your sake, Ursula, that the police never apprehend him and bring him back to face trial for the murder of his stepfather,
Do you mean my son is not a murderer?
Oh, under ordinary circumstances, no, indeed. Why, he was driven to his foul crime by that unscrupulous nurse. Yes, he was so in love with Constant that he poisoned his stepfather in order to get her consent to marry him.
Oh, not that! Not that!
Ah, yes, Constant Hope. Constant Hope is out to get herself a rich husband, come what may. Why, that wicked nurse, she did her best to get me to propose to her, but I turned her down cold. I told her that my heart only belongs to you, lovely lady.
Then Manly is lost to me forever. This is more than I can bear.
Sorry. Yes. Constant, you heard?
Every word. From the very first I mistrusted you, and now all of my suspicions are verified. You are an unscrupulous cur who will stop at nothing to gain your foul ends.
Gadzooks, the plot's stickins. You wrong me, Constant. Really you do. I only proposed to Ursula because of you.
You expect me to believe that?
It's true. It's very true. Once I'm married to Ursula and have control of the fortune, why, you and I will flee together and travel all over the world.
You cad! I can't find adequate words to describe my loathing of you.
Oh, Constant, how the sight of your beauty maddens me. Oh, I am going to plant a kiss on your ruby red lips.
Unhand me this instant, or I shall scream for help!
Take your hands off her, you rat! I'll give you the thrashing you deserve.
Manly, you arrived in the nick of time.
What is the meaning of this?
You weren't expecting me here, were you? Your days of double dealing are over forever, Oleander.
What's the meaning of this now? What are you doing here?
I thought I heard Manly's... Manly, is it really you?
Yes, Mama, I'm back again in spite of this snake's efforts to keep me away.
Why, I don't know what you're talking about, Reich. I never tried to harm you in any way.
Not much you haven't. This villain pointed a revolver at me and forced me to go with him to an abandoned shack. There he bound my hands and legs with heavy rope and left Fred Vedder, one of his henchmen, there to guard me.
My poor boy, how did you manage to get free?
Well, I managed to chew holes through the rope on my wrists, and the rest was easy. I overpowered Vedder and turned him over to the police, and there he gave a full confession that it was all a plot on Oleander's part to take control of the Greystone fortune.
You can't hang that rap on me, Reich. Why, I have every intention of bringing a libel suit against you. Yes, indeed I do.
Stay where you are and reach for the ceiling.
What is the meaning of this?
It means I only pretended to be a customer of Mr. Rash's in order to gain access to this house.
You mean you aren't Millie Smith?
I'm Millie Smith, all right, but I'm connected with the law. I work for homicide. We searched Oleander's room and found a large supply of the same deadly poison used to kill Augustus Greystone.
You can't hang that rap on me. Why, you only got circumstantial evidence against me.
Listen, Boston Birdie, this time we've got you dead to rights. Vedder has turned state's evidence. You know what that means.
Yes, looks like the game is up for the present. Next time, I'll play my cards more skillfully.
Gad, what a cad.
On your way, Boston Birdie, and remember, no tricks. My trigger finger is getting mighty itchy.
Oh, yes.
I knew that Oleander was a crook the first time I saw him.
If you had no right to when you did, I shudder to think what might have happened to me. You have saved me from a fate worse than death.
Shucks, I didn't do anything. One thing for certain, that black-hearted Oleander will never come this way again. It's curtains for him this time.
I'm sure you children will want to get married as soon as possible. I'll make all the arrangements.
You will you, Constant?
The answer is yes. How could anyone resist anybody as manly as you, Manly?
They're thinking about it.
They don't want applause. They want us to have it all.
They don't know it's the end.
The staff would like them to come out too. Linda Christensen worked with costumes. Marta Green is the cue card lady, the introducer and functor. Donna Harris is somewhere around, the makeup artist. Makeup artist.